Welcome everyone officially to 2026. It's a new year, same old resolve. But all the new stuff that we make takes place within our brains. And so that is exactly what I'm going to be starting off today. We're taking this entire node tree. This whole thing. This is the blueprint I have for my text preset, my all-in-one text preset, version 1. We've got all of our text, we've got a bunch of different animations, and this thing works great, don't get me wrong, but there's more we can do. There's so much more we can do. 245 different combinations of animation, mix and match madness going on here, but when you take into account all of the new things we can add and how much more efficient we can make it, we've only scratched the surface. I'm already estimating I can fit more than 1,000 combinations. And I can make it more efficient. I can make this whole thing run faster. I can make it run faster, and I can pack more into it. I spent 2 months just learning about fusion, expressions, packing things into one another, and I know for a fact I can pack more into this and make it run better. So, really quickly, let me post the shareable link into my Discord server. And then, let's get started right here. We are live. New year, new presets, incredible time, ready to be had by all. Let's go. Okay, so the preset itself is very, very simple. In theory, it's a text preset that lets you choose your in animation, you can choose your out animation, and you can also choose what kind of animation you want to have in the middle. So for a basic idea of what we're talking about here, you can see we've got this growth right here where our text slowly grows over time. We've got one for shrinking. We've got one for camera shake. We've got a ripple one. And we even have a floating one. That's just the mid animations. And this is all on one preset. Let me show you. This is all on one thing. Let me do this. Also, let me know if the music is too loud. If the music is too loud, we'll turn the music down. But here, let me show you. Let me show you what we've got here. So here's the example of, let's put it to a shake. We'll have the grow and shrink on both of those. And actually, you know what? We'll fade it out. That's what we're going to do. So here's the example of the text preset, right? So this is all these animations are on one single effect. So we've got a grow and shrink as the in, we've got a fade as the out. We have a constant. Hey, Mr. Jordan899, how you doing, brother? And we got Cam Cobb in the chat. We've got Blinsky in chat. Today we're showing off our text, all-in-one text effect, version 1, 245 text animation combinations stuffed into one preset. Boom, just like that. So we've got the grow and shrink, we've got the constant shake, and then it fades out at the end. Or I'll do this so that it doesn't just suddenly go crazy. But you can change this. So you can have it shake out, you could have it fade in, and you can have it like ripple, for example. So there's the fade in and the shake out, right? So there's so much we can fit into this, but we only have, I say only, we only have 245 possible combinations in version 1. And it runs okay, but it doesn't run as good as it can. That's what I want to change. So all of these animations, I'm changing the song here. I'm changing the song. I like that. I like that a little bit better. Okay, so all of this text is simply the color version of the text. I have a color switch here. If I do this, I can go blue. Oh, there we go. I can go blue. I can go orange, I can go red, I can change it to whatever I want. That doesn't affect the way anything runs. However, all these animations, all of them run at the same time, and they're all just transform nodes, right? Simple transform node controls here. That's all we're using. But because we have, what, 20-something of these, almost 20 of these running at the same time, it still tanks our system a little bit when we're running it. Meaning you can't get smooth playback necessarily unless you cache it, use proxies, whatever, when you're watching through your video. And instead of having all this on one node, which I didn't know how to do until recently, we would just have all these running at the same time, and then we would use our mid switch here to change what was actually being displayed. So we'd have the grow, we'd have the shrink, we'd have the shake, we'd have the still, we'd have ripple, and we'd have float. But in theory, we should be able to fit everything into one single node. I say everything. In theory, we should be able to fit every animation of the same type into a single node. So everything that is, everything that uses the size control, so the grow and the shrink, I should be able to actually fit into one node. The constant shake uses our center, so that and the float should be able to go into one node. Same with all this other stuff, right? And if I'm just using a perturb modifier, like I think the constant shake, we just use a perturb modifier. All of those should be very, very easy to set up. But, and this is the big but in play, it's going to be seeing how close we can get this to being as custom as I want it to be. So instead of the normal stuff I have here, which is all your normal controls, you only control what animation is showing. You don't control how fast it animates in, how fast it animates out. You don't control any of the, how would I put it? You don't control, or you don't get to control any of, it's right on the tip of my tongue, it's right there. You don't get to control how extreme or how aggressive. I'm gonna switch this over. You don't get to control. I'm switching the music, guys. Sorry, my brain's going too crazy for this. Okay, deep chill house. Okay, so you don't get to control how aggressive you want the animations to be. Meaning that if I want a shake in, shake out, let's get rid of this. If I want the fade in, I don't get to control how long it fades in for, but maybe I need that for a certain effect. The same with like the shake. I don't get to control how long the shake is. The shake will automatically adapt to whatever I have here. And if I split this, right, then you can see it automatically adapts, and then this one will fade in again. It's set up really well. But if I want to control the length of these animations, or I want this shake to be even more aggressive, that's where we're falling short, right? So this preset is already super custom. I want to make it run better, and I want to make it so you can customize everything. I want to make this the one size fits all, where it's going to have probably 12 of the most used text animations that are out there. I'm even thinking of seeing if I can add the follower in there, which is like it's one of the most popular text presets or text effects you've seen out there, where the letters animate in or the words animate in one by one. Want to see if I can add that in there, and you can just choose how aggressive you want every effect to be. So I might sneeze. I think I'm gonna sneeze first. Oh. Okay, no, we're not sneezing. Okay, so I have been working. So for 2 months, I worked on one single project, and that was creating a modular, not a modular effect, creating a very customizable effect where you could control the in-out animations, and it would also run really, really well. So if I pull this transform into here, this is my test, my theory test I can actually watch this move in, or well, in this case, move off the screen, then slide back onto the screen, which I don't have at the moment because I have just the in. So here we go. Let me set it to full. And now it slides back onto the screen. But this is completely custom. You can customize this however you want. I can have the in animation take 50 frames, and I can have the out animation take 200 frames. So I can have this scream off of the screen, just fly off of it, and then I can have it slowly come back on, right? We can also change it so it's just the out, so it's just going to come back onto the screen, and it's going to start off of the screen. We can even change, let me put this to full and change our version type to 5 here. So now it's only going to move half the distance, and then it's slowly going to come back. And even the animation curve is perfect. I didn't use any keyframes for this. So trying to stuff all of this where everything in here is a hardwired keyframe, right? All of these nodes have hardwired keyframes, meaning that the values are set. I can't change them. This animation, though, no keyframes, right? Nothing. It's all done via expressions, which is really, really cool. Expressions allow us to do a lot of different things. Anyways, so in theory, I can take the same tech that I have here, and let me put this to like 7 or something ridiculous. Whoop. And then slowly going to come back. So in theory, I should be able to take the same tech that we have here, add on a scale slider so I can control even further, even more how far I want it to go, which our scale slider in this case is the version control. So like if I put this to 4, you can see it's going further now, right? We even have, let me do this. I'll put this back to 7. I even have a direction control. So this is in degrees. We can have this move 30 degrees, and then it'll come back. We can have this move 210 degrees, have it move 150 degrees. It's really, really cool. None of it uses keyframes. And it runs extremely smooth. We have, if I run the numbers here, if I run these numbers, let's see how many different things. So we've got the in, full, out, so that's 3. Multiply that by 9. 3 times 9 times 12. Let me see. 3 times 9 times 12. So we have 324 possible combinations, all packed into one node, which is crazy. It's all packed into one node. There's no keyframes, and there's only 3 different animated properties. There's no keyframes, which is crazy. I mean, it gets animated, but not by any keyframes. It's all math. So 3 animated properties creates 324 animations. So in theory, I should be able to take our entire text preset, which is just this, where we've got all these different options, right? We can have it shake, we can have it ripple, we can have it do all these different things, completely modular. Right, you can do literally anything you want with this. I can have this like shrink over time, so it shakes, shrinks, and then just goes whoop. It's all on one preset, right? But I should be able to take all of this, and probably a third of this could go into this one node here. It'll run better, it'll be smoother, you'll get more customization, cleaner controls. That's what we're building. Trying to build something absolutely insane. So I have these here just as a little placeholder for me. So I need to first organize exactly how I want this to be, which I think what we're going to need to do is, let me see, I hope the stream quality is good as well. Let me know in the chat if the stream quality is like bad, then I'm gonna have to change some part of my bitrate or something. Okay. So I need to track first. I think I can cut this down overall to... I want to say it depends how many different effects that we want to have. Because we have our in animations here. This is how everything animates in. This is how everything animates out. And this is for anything in the middle. And the more different types, I think, of stuff that we want to have, I think that will determine how many nodes. This is fucking confusing, guys. This is confusing as all hell. Okay, so transform 1. Let me copy the same background over so that we have something that we can move, and I'll put that up here. So in theory, let me see. So this is our grow and our shrink, which we're doing with our size control. If I connect this, if I modify it with a switch, right? If I modify this with a switch, I should be able to get, well, I can get as many size animations out of it as I want. And then, yeah, so this is input 1. I can get as many size animations out of this as I want, but it's going to be all about what animations those are. So right now we have a grow and we have a shrink. That's the only thing I can think of to animate as far as size goes. So like if we name these, it'd be grow and it would be shrink. Then I would simply do whatever my expressions are here, which is 1 plus time. So it'd be 1 plus time, and then I think I would do, for the shrink one, we're going to do 1 minus time because we want it to get smaller. And if you're in the chat today and you're excited to learn some stuff, then definitely say hi, because I'm really, really excited about what we're doing here. Okay, so that's, okay, so I see, okay. So this is our grow. This is our shrink. We've taken the grow and shrink already. We've put it onto a single node. It runs, it works properly, but we need more control over it. So here's what we have. We have the constant variable of 1. 1 is like our default that we're starting at. We're always going to start at 1 because it's like a clean slate. It's like the default value. We have time, which is our frame value. We don't want to mess with our frame value because that's bad. Don't mess with the frame value. So this is going to be our variable. So I need to take this. It's not going to be 0.0. It's not going to be 777 anymore. It's going to become a variable. Meaning, I'm about to show you guys some crazy shit here. Custom tool. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take our, so we have the switch modifier on the size. In the modifiers, we've got 2 options, 1 for grow, 1 for shrink. Got expressions for both of those. Content. Next, we're gonna replace our expression variables with a variable that we can change with 1 control, so that we can control, so we can change the 0.7 for both of these at the same time. And because we're changing the 0.7 from here, or in here, we can influence how fast or slow our grow and shrink is happening. So it's going to give us, so not only is this packed into 1 node, it runs better now because we're taking half the nodes. There's only 1 node running. Well, there's 1 node running, but we're also going to fix it so that only one of these animates at any given time. But then also, we'll now be able to control how fast it animates. So let me check my custom tool over here, and I'm pretty sure our modifier was just, yeah, it was just custom tool whatever. So what we're gonna do is, this is custom tool 1. So I need to, and I think it's like number in 1 or something. So let me see, for the custom tool, we need to go to here. We got to go, yeah, number in. So it would be number in something. So go into my config, setup, enter, channels, controls. I need to, where is it? Ah, here we go. Number controls, point controls, and LUT controls. So I'm going to uncheck all of these because I don't need any of these showing. If I go back into controls, you can see it's just numbers now. If I add on a point, right, there's an XY point. Don't need it. Not important for this. So let's get these brought back in. I only need number in 1. That's all I need. And let me rename this as size. I'll rename it as just size variable for now, and it'll show up as size variable here. But then when we're over top of it in the bottom left corner, it says custom tool 1 dot number 1 in, meaning, so let's put this at 0.007. Now custom tool dot number in 1. So let me go to my expression here, times, ready, custom tool dot number in 1 and custom tool 1 custom tool dot number in 1. This should work. This should work. Times custom tool. What if I just do this? Put this to there. Oops. I just got rid of our modifier. Let's bring that back. Custom tool 1. Custom tool. What? So wait a second. Put this to grow. Nothing's happened. It's staying at the same thing. Custom tool. Oh, it's custom tool 1 dot number in 1. It works. Okay, so we just had to change it to custom tool 1. It didn't need to be anything else. Okay, perfect. So now this is where the crazy part happens. I can drag this. So I can make this grow slower. Let me bring this down as well. What's our default? What are we starting at here? So I can make this grow slower, or, and I go into my custom tool and I bring this up, I can make this grow faster. And it's all done. It's all done within the custom tool node. It's literally, and so now if I change this to shrink, it's gonna go just like that. How crazy is that? We're controlling the entire animation. We're controlling the speed of the animation now with the size variable. Let's go to our edit controls and see if we can set the center here to yeah, we'll set it to that. See if we can do that. So okay, that didn't change it. Number controls user, that's a screw control. Which one do we want? Size variable, yeah. I think that should be, well, we can figure that out later. But basically I wanted to set this so that when I double click it, it would set itself back to 007. Okay, so we've done that. We need to add in another custom control here. So what I need to do is we'll take our LUT control. We'll show LUT control 4, and we're going to use LUT control to switch between the grow and shrink instead of having to go into transform 1, into modifiers, and hit this manually. So switch 1 source. So I need to remember how to do this. So how did so it was ID number in 5, anim type full. So what would I do? what was I doing for this? So anim type, we got our scaling, so our in scale. So it would be custom tool 48, number in 4. So number in, so that's 7, and this is also a 7. So I just change it to the custom tool. I change it to the node name, and then I'm also going to use the node property. So we have, this is technically number in 4. You can see in the bottom left, that's the property name. Hey, Happy New Year, man. Last year was the year I stumbled upon this amazing software, DaVinci. I hope this year you and I both get to where we're aiming for. Cheers, mate. Hell yeah. Dude, I'm so excited. There's so much for us to do. Today, we're laying the foundation. Everyone who's watching the stream is going to get to see the foundation for taking our amazing all-in-one text preset, ton of different animations all packed into one single preset here. Right now, we're taking it, we're optimizing it, we're adding in more custom controls, and at the end, we're going to have, once this is finished, we're going to have probably like, I want to say between 7 and 10 times the amount of like animation combinations. Right now, the original text preset has 245 possible animation combinations. You've got your in animations, your out animations here, and you've got your mid animations. So for you guys to see what that looks like, right? So here's shake in. So we've got our in, shake in, shrink. So we can see this is slowly shrinking, and then we've got grow and shrink out. But with a drop-down menu, I can change it to grow and shrink in. I can change it to a fade out, and I could change this to ripple instead. So it's all packed into one single effect, which is really, really cool. There's even more customization and stuff we can do. We've got some color controls, which again, I'm going to overhaul so much in this. Like version 2 of this effect is going to be like you're going to get like 5 times more effect. Dude, it's so exciting. So right now, we've taken the grow and shrink effect that we have here. We've put it into this singular transform node, so 2 nodes into 1. We can now control how fast or slow it shrinks with a single control here. So if I do this, right, it's going to shrink a lot faster versus if I do this, shrinks slower. And then now I need to add the control to change it between the grow and shrink effect. Change it between the grow and shrink effect in this custom tool 1. So I'm pretty sure the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to edit control. We're going to edit control. We're going to change it to a combo button, I think. And items is going to be grow. I'm going to add that, and then shrink. And I'm going to add that. I'm going to hit OK. Oh, that's cool. So the LUT control. Oh. Interesting. Okay, so the LUT control will keep that no matter what. So I actually do not need the LUT control, so I can get rid of that. We're going to bring up point control because we only have one property there. And now I'll change that with the edit control to, let's see, point. So point, we can change offset and crosshair. Okay, look, I'm learning even more here. So we're gonna do number 2 then. Number 2, gonna take this, edit control, change it to combo button. We're gonna do a grown. We're gonna change it to grow, and we're gonna change this to shrink. So with that, DaVinci 3D 2Y. Love the One Piece reference. So we're taking this entire animated text preset, which is all of these nodes. Oops, I just moved something over. So we're going to take all these nodes and we're compressing it down to make it, 1, more efficient, and 2, to give you guys more custom controls. So I'll do again, quick demo. Right, here's the actual effect where we've got grow and shrink in, got the text rippling, and then it fades out. But I can go into here and change the animations that I want to have with a drop-down menu. which is really, really cool because it lets you mix and match. Animations. So even though there's only like, I mean, you get six or seven animation options for each one, you can mix and match it to like 245 combinations. But now we're taking all of the animations and we're making them optimized so that they run better in the software, because running all these animations at the same time, although it's cool, takes up a lot of processing power. And I'm making it more optimized, giving you guys custom controls, and that's also going to allow me to pack more animations into it because it'll be more efficient. So grow and shrink. So here's what I need for this to be. I need to go into here, and on the source I need to change this to expression, and then I need to change because this is like a value, this is going to tell me what value to hold. And when you have a switch, oh, nice work, man, just finished this clip animation 2 hours and just waiting for it's literally 4 a.m. dude, I've been there. The render time, so at a certain point, if it's gonna render forever, I will literally, because I got 3 monitors here, I'll turn all my monitors off. I'll just cover, like, if I've got a keyboard that lights up, I'll cover everything with like a t-shirt and I'll just go to bed. I'm not waiting for this to render. Happy New Year. I like the unique way you turn text in Resolve. That has been really helpful for making my videos. Nice. Thank you, Morph. I've been trying to keep things interesting, trying to keep things fun. And I love showing you guys the behind the scenes, right? There's so many tutorials that only teach you to press buttons. And I don't want to teach you guys to press buttons. I want to show you how to do it and also tell you why I'm doing it, because that way you can understand, right? And you can use it for your own stuff. So with this, I need to go to, so this is a value. So the expression, this is a value field. So grow, even though it says grow and shrink, grow holds a value of 0, shrink holds a value of 1. And so in custom tool here, grow, again, grow here is going to be 0 and shrink is going to be 1, and that's just because this is the first one. So I just have them named the same way to make it easier for us to tell which is which. So I need to put custom tool.1 or custom tool 1 number in 2. So that, and that's basically a placeholder for the value. So it's either going to be 0 or it's going to be 1. And because this matches with 0 or 1, when I put this in, custom tool 1.number in 2, it just changed to shrink. And that's because we have it as shrink here, which is really, really cool, because now I don't need to do anything in the transform. I don't even need the transform node. All of my controls can be in the custom control area, and I can change it to grow. I can change it to shrink. And I need to make this slider here. Let me change this. I'll change this temporarily to a slider control. And I'll have the range be 0 all the way to like 0.005 or 0.001, and we'll try that just to make this yeah, easier to play with. So now, yeah, okay, so let me push that up a little bit more. We'll go to 0.1 then. So now this can get a lot smaller, a lot faster. Okay, and yeah, and we can edit this later on. So size variable, really, really cool. So that I can have this stay completely still, or I can slowly pull it up and it'll start shrinking more, or I can have it grow more. So yeah, insane stuff here. And have it go even bigger. Let's pull this up even more. 0.1. And I actually don't need the center anymore. I don't need the center control. For a range control, I could see having a range control with a bunch of like speeds. So it'd be like points. So the slider here wouldn't move smooth. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's try this. So pull this up. Yeah, and I can now I have my speed control. There we go. Yeah, so that's like a more reasonable range. Obviously, I'm gonna come up with a way to make this easier for you guys to control when it's actually released, because this slider control, well, it's nice, like you get a full range. There's gonna be like a general area or a general speed that most of you are gonna want. Okay, mate, signing off now. Render completed. Go to sleep now. All right, Ayush, or yeah, Ayush. Good to have you in, brother. Good to have you in. Look forward to seeing what you've made. Join the Discord. I think the link's in the description. Join the Discord. We've got a channel where you can show off your stuff. We can troubleshoot all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, so the size variable control, most of you are going to use the same few speeds, and so I think I want to make that speed be like the default point. And then after having the speed be the default point, or having like a couple default points, then you'd have like the full slider control. Just so that you're not like, oh, what, like I was at 0.44, 0.0443. I gotta make sure I have that. Like, no, it'll just be like size speed 1 or whatever, size speed 2. But yeah, so this is really, really cool. We just took 2 animations. We put them into the one node, and then not only did we put 2 animations into a single node, we added custom controls. So if its grow or shrink is controlled on one thing, and we can now control how fast it moves. Where with this one, it was just this is text right now, but it would move at 1 speed, and you couldn't control how fast or slow it would move, which, you know, to be honest with you, it wasn't like that wasn't the end of the world, especially with like a text animation. So if you got a text animation here, I'll have this shrink in and shrink out. So with a text animation, it's not the end of the world. Oops, there we go. Because a lot of the time you're not gonna need to make excessive adjustments, but for custom edits, or let's say you have a shake, like you have this one, but instead of having it be very aggressive, like someone's screaming into their mic, you want it to be a rumble, like it's an earthquake, or you want it to move around a lot more. All right, that's where the custom controls need to come in, because right now this is just the shake you get. All right, you don't get any other shake options aside from that, and that's what I want to build into these different nodes. So this is with the, let me go here. So this controls our size for our transform stuff, and in theory, I could put the constant shake in, and so hear me out. So we've put a switch onto the size, right? So this controls how big the thing gets. I could also put the constant shake controls and the float controls onto the same node, and it wouldn't be bad because you have the option to stack your animations, meaning that I could have it be constantly shaking and getting bigger, or, you know, maybe just floating or rippling and getting smaller. Yeah, I guess there really isn't isn't a bad thing to have about that. So let's give this a try. Modify with, and so here's the thing with the switch is, or here's the thing with this. So with the center, it's 2 different values you control. It's not just the size where it's 1 value. Meaning if you only want to control 1 value, then you're going to have just the XY path, because that allows you to change the values individually. Meaning that when I add this keyframe here, it's not keyframing the X, right? It would only be keyframing the Y, and vice versa. So it's a little bit cleaner. And so I think what we're going to do for this, because I want to add in a perturb, which the perturb is going to make it go crazy. we're going to add in a switch first for our transform center. Oops. Wait, where did I just put this? Okay. No. Wait. Okay, yes. Okay. So we added this in the right spot. So now you can see we've got input 1 and input 2, which I'm just going to change this to 0 and 1 for the sake of simplicity. So when we have our values, I know what we're doing. Okay, and then, and stick with me because we've already put a modifier. It's basically just the same as our center. What we can do is, you'll see if I change this, we're actually changing our center control. So we're moving this around, blah, blah, blah. I can keyframe this however I want. Let me set this back to normal. If I add an XY path, I can change them individually, meaning I could add a perturb, and I'll, just for the sake of you guys knowing what the hell I'm talking about, I'll add a perturb to 1 here, or to 0, and then on 1, I'm going to add an XY path. And then what I'll do is, and let me put this on, let me rename this so that we can tell what we're looking at. Okay, so this will be our 0 perturb. So I'm going to show you guys why the XY path matters, why being able to adjust them differently matters. So we've got our perturb for 1, which, let me bring the size variable to 0. And then go to the perturb, bring the scale down to here. We'll bring the speed and the wobble and the strength up overall, but we're going to keep these down. Okay, actually, no, I want the speed down. That's kind of distracting. So, perturb 1, or the 0 perturb, is adjusting both the X and the Y values, you can see, which isn't bad, right? It creates a good shake, and you have an X scale and a Y scale. Actually, you know what? I might be... Yeah, so you have an X scale and a Y scale. So I can bring the Y scale up, and now it's going to go crazy. I was thinking before that if you have the X and Y path, because I completely forgot the perturb value, I thought it was going to adjust both of them equally, but because we have an XY scale, we might be fine. I figured having the XY path, because it separates these, I could add a perturb. I could add a perturb to this, to just here. So if I change this to 1, right, it's only going to perturb the X value. So we can see how far it's going. I can move the speed up. And then I would do the same thing for the Y, but actually, you know what? That might still be good. So even though I have an XY value control for, where is it? Even though I have, oh, why did this not rename properly? Let's do this, perturb 0. So even though I have an XY value control here, the strength in the wobble and the speed is going to stay the same for both of them, meaning that I can adjust the deviation of both, but I don't get to adjust the speed or the strength for both. That is always going to be the same. So with our different levels of shake, I think instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset. We're going to reset this. We're going to reset that. And I'm going to quickly lay out how we would do this. So let's modify this with an XY path. We're going to get rid of these animations here because you can't add a modifier to something as far as I know. Yeah, you can't add a modifier to an already animated keyframe or an already active keyframe, because an active keyframe, it's like it says the value is already changing, but the modifier is supposed to be the thing that changes the value itself. So it's like trying to activate a keyframe when it's already active. It doesn't work. It's like trying to... What's a good analogy here that I can... What's like a really obscure analogy I can throw out? It's like trying to bake a cookie twice. You could probably find a way to do it, But why the hell would you? So this is our X perturb. So we're gonna rename this. When you're doing stuff like this, if you're adding on stuff like this, you want to keep everything labeled, because otherwise you're gonna drive yourself crazy. You're not gonna know. You're gonna be like, it's perturb 22, huh? So modify that with a perturb. Hit F2. Nope. I accidentally just tried to rename everything. So that, and this is gonna be our Y perturb. So now I can bring the strength up for my X, or I'll bring the strength down for my X, and I'll bring the speed, but I'll bring the speed up. I'll bring the wobble down. We're gonna bring this down a lot, and then for the Y perturb. Yeah, that's what we want. So the X, or so the Y is just kind of going bloop, 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 bloop. But the X is like, the X is vibrating. The X is going crazy. That's what we want. So that's how we want to do our shake control. And is there a way, we're gonna test something here. Can I add, is there a way I can add a blur onto this? I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I've got B-spline, I got anim curves, blah, 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 blah. Gradient color, key stretcher. Okay, yeah, so we can't do it with that. Oh, and you guys haven't even seen key stretcher. The key stretcher is where the magic happens with making it into an actual preset. But for now, yeah, so you can see the values get to change differently. But I get to control the speed of them, which is really, really cool. So let's bring the Y down to like 4, 3. Bring the speed of the, wait, where's the speed of my X? Or I'll just bring the wobble up. Jeez, dude. Okay. Enough playing around. Put this back to there. Put this at 0.3. And then the Y. The Y can stay there. So next for the camera shake, because there are a lot of little, I call them accents, which are little finishing touches, or little touches, the bells and whistles, if you will, that complete an effect, that help to sell an effect. So it'd be like shading. If you're animating, you'll add shading in different shades to a character. It's kind of like that. In our case, when something is shaking, it's moving really fast. You should probably have a directional blur. So if we bring our Y perturb speed up, or no, I don't want the Y perturb speed up. I want the X perturb speed up. So we'll do that. I'll bring the wobble down. Actually, I don't want any wobble. Oh, wow. No wobble brings it all the way down. That's weird. What if I do this? Woo! Okay, we need this. I need this to be fast enough where the directional blur is going to be believable. Here we go. So this is what we want. So if you have an object moving like this, right? It's moving, but it's not like there's something that's not quite right about it. It's not as believable. So if I add some directional blur onto it, here's before, here's after, right? Still not super believable. If it's text, where's my text? I'm going to take my main text white and plug that in. So now it becomes a lot more believable. That's when it's clear. It doesn't look as nice. The directional blur gives it a little, it completes it, you know? So if I bring up the blur strength, now you're going to see, okay, yeah, it's a little bit more exaggerated, but you're seeing it be more complete. Now there's a way we can, I believe, simulate actual real-time motion blur. I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I just thought of, because there's two ways we can go about this. We can go about it the way where we need a render farm in 560, 90 GPUs, or we can do it the really cool way, which probably doesn't use GPU acceleration, so you could do it in the free version of Resolve. Yippee. First way we can do it is by clicking on motion blur. When we click on motion blur, right, you can see we get this really nice motion blur effect where it's only like the more it's moving, the more blurred it is, and we can bring the quality up. We can mess around with all these different settings, shutter angle. You can bring your center bias back and forth, so it will change kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Center bias. It changes like the after image of it, and then sample spread as well. So you can go hoo, 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 right? We can do that. We can do that. But if we keep this checked, it's going to take up so much processing power. And if I have, for example, if I have like 4 or 5 different pieces of text in quick succession and all of them are moving, and I have motion blur checked on all of them, when it tries to jump from effect to effect, and it's just and it's just going boom, 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 like boom, boom. Someone's screaming apparently in this one. They're going, the ghost is coming, run. That's going to run, you're not going to be able to play that back at 60 frames a second. It's going to run horribly. It's going to run it's going to run like dog shit. So, what we're going to do is be a little big brain. We're going to go to directional blur. And I believe the way I'm going to want to do this is I'm going to want to, I need to create some kind of expression to change the blur strength based off of the changes that I'm getting here. So in my transform, right, we go to controls. So how do I want, because then when it's not moving, I need it to not have the motion blur. So I could change, maybe, because it's not going to be perfect. That's something to understand. I think I have a canker sore on my lip. It's not going to be perfect. Because, I mean, one version is we're clicking a button and the AI GPU XL is doing it for us. The other is we're making an expression. But we can get it to be pretty darn good. So I need some kind of expression for this, but I need it again because I'm thinking I can use the value of this because this is what's changing. I'm like, I can use this value because then when it changes, it's going to adjust the value of our blur strength. But then I'm going, oh, if the value is lower, then it's going to lower it down. But the speed, if it's still moving really fast, the speed isn't going to, it's not going to be compensated for. Does that make sense? Basically, if the value goes down but the speed is really fast, it's going to think that I need less directional blur because the actual value is lower. But in reality, that's not what I need. So the way that I'll illustrate this is by going transform, and what is this? Transform 1 dot center. And I want this as X, as whatever X's value is. Which, how would I do that again? Transform center, transform 1 center. There's an expression for this. I think I would do what? Transform 1 center, and then I would go 0? Would that work? That'd be the blur. No, wait a second. Wait a second here. The blur strength. So I'm using sense. Yeah, so that's transform 1 center. So because Because I'm okay, maybe I might not be able to use this. Here we go. Okay, now I know what to use. Okay, xy path 1 dot x. That's what I need to use. xy path dot 1 x, I think, is what I needed. And if I go into, I go to here, xy path 1 dot x. Okay, xy path 1 dot x. So now you can see this is changing our motion blur as it's moving, which is really, really cool, right? Like, look at that. So when we are, the only thing is, when it's there's going to be certain points when it's moving where the motion blur is lower, which, stylized. What does this do? Oh, symmetric blur. Oh, and I can't uncheck that because it's stylized. Let me try realistic. That doesn't seem to do anything. Channel adjustment. Oh, and I think I can move some stuff around like this. We're going to leave that alone today. Advanced controls. Reflect. Black. We're going to leave these alone today. Okay. So we've got our blur strength going crazy right here, but I need... because this is starting at 0.5, strange. I don't think this is the end of the line for this effect, but I'm trying to think about how I would do this. Oh, let me get rid of that as well. There we go. Now we'll be able to see it. Here we go. So this is what I wanted to see. So I need to do this, and then I need to go minus 0.5. We'll go 0.4 maybe. 0.325. Let's try that. Yeah, so there's some points, like when it's at 1.5 and it's moving, right, when it moves to here, we get less motion blur, even though the speed is very high. And so I need to figure out some way to clamp it when it's not. I need to figure out some way to clamp it or something like that. Which a clamp is basically like you're putting a limit on how high or low a value can be. In this case, it needs to be allowed to increase. That's how fast it's... I might have to revisit this one. The blur strength is... This is, I mean, this is cool though. This is still cooler than what we had before, where we had just a basic directional blur. So let me take this. I'm actually gonna put this at like 0.2, -0.2. So let me take this, set this to normal. So before we had just a very basic directional blur, so it would stay static no matter what was happening. So even when it's not moving or it's just small movements, that's what it would be. That's what it would have. Yeah, that's what it would have as its value. So you had one overarching blur, which wasn't bad. Like it would run better than having, or it would run faster than having the other motion blur, where it's, you know, you check off the box and you let your computer die because it's using all the processing power. This is really cool. Can I multiply this? Let me multiply this by like 1.5 to make the the value go crazier. Or let me see. Can I multiply this by... What happens if I multiply this by 5? Is it going to go... No, it's not going to go wild. Which is what I want. I want it to go... Want to go hog wild. Because if I can get this to go even crazier, with both the positives and the negatives, then I can kind of simulate that movement. So maybe I need to do times over here, or I can just, you know, I can divide it by 1/2, divide it by 2, and that, no, so that won't do it. There's definitely an expression for it. I just don't know it off the top of my head. Oh, wait a second. That's kind of moving. That's not bad. If I put this at 3, what's it going to do? Yo, what's up? Omnibook Edits. How we doing, man? We are currently... Wow, that's crazy. We're currently making a really... I don't know if I'd call it... I guess I'd call it advanced. We're making a more advanced effect for our... What was our text version, or our all-in-one text preset version 1, which was several different animations that you could mix and match. So instead of buying a preset pack with 100 presets, and it's like, oh, here's this, and you have to drag and drop all of them, and you have to scroll down or add a bunch to your favorites bar, and you're like, oh, I like this part, but I wish I could put, like, stack these two presets on top of each other. I've solved that. I've solved that issue by just creating a modular preset that you can change the animations of. So you bring this in, loop that. So now you can just pick whatever animations you want, and it'll just work. So now, right, all on one text preset, right? It'll fade in, fade out. This one now it'll grow in, fade out. Boom, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. We're making a more efficient version of that. And it's going to have more stuff, more controls, custom controls. Hey, what's good? Stin IQ editing? I think I pronounced that. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm so sorry. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year's. We're making some cool stuff today. I'm really excited. This is going to be the foundation for a lot of modular effects because of the amount of control that you get. It makes sense to build it into most of the effects that I'll be releasing. Right, most of the stuff that you'll find on the fourth wall page, which I think you can find on the channel links and the channel description. Stink AI, or is it Stinkai? Stinkai? I don't... Let me know if I pronounced that right. But yeah, so the custom controls make sense to have. Like, it makes sense to give you guys an effect that works really well already, and then also give you the options to customize it if you want. There's... I don't know, it just seems like a no-brainer for me. And like showing you guys how to do this stuff as well is also really cool, because you get to see the behind the scenes of how I'm doing this, how I'm the one I said last, Stinkai. Okay. Yeah, you guys get to see how I do this, how I'm troubleshooting. You get to hear the thoughts out loud, because I'm going, okay, I could do a different expression for this maybe. You really got to think outside the box to create some of this stuff. Because here's the thing, I want, when this is at 0, or when it's not moving, I want it to be, like, I want it to be at 0. Let me ask, we're going to ask ChatGPT a question really quick. We're going to ask it, I need an expression for DaVinci Resolve that, this is, by the way, for like math formulas, because it's basically a calculator with one extra brain cell. ChatGPT is actually good for. Do not ask it for advanced fusion advice. It will not be able to help you. I've tested this so much. It can give you formulas for things though. It is completely competent with like, oh, like here's a math formula that you can put into your expression field because it's just math. So I need an expression for DaVinci Resolve that will make the, oh, I guess, you know what, I need to think about this differently. That will make smaller, I guess, like smaller small values smaller. This might be more advanced than I was thinking. Small values smaller and large values larger. Larger is what I put there. Larger. Okay. So it's saying, oh, use a power curve with adjustable strength. So let me show you guys what it's kind of spit out for me here. Do I have my snip and sketch up? So here's what it's showing me. Use a power curve, basic, which is value times 2, and then the adjustable strength is K. Small values, I don't know what the K is. Value times K. If your input is 0 to 1 and you want to keep fixed power, value, and then K. If you need symmetry around negative to positive. If you want a softer curve. See, I don't know what ABS is. So, like, it can help you with some stuff. With other stuff it can't. And you do have to prompt it a little bit, right? You do have to. But this means it's workable. Here's the only thing. Because the problem is still our speed. And I may have to deep dive this off of stream just because I want to keep giving you guys value. And this is like a real, like, bang your head against the wall until you find the solution problem. But I'm gonna file this one away. And we're gonna keep going here. Because this is, well, for now we'll leave this like that. Anyways, shake controls. So we can control whether this grows or shrinks. So I can actually add this, and now it's slowly growing, right? Or I can have it, you know, slowly shrinking and getting smaller. Ah! Boom, gone. He's dead. Never to return again. Yeah. So we can stack the effects, which I don't hate as an idea. I feel like it might be a little cluttery for you guys. You can let me know in the chat if you're like, oh no, I just want to be able to shake it, or I just want to be able to grow it or shrink it. I just want to have one at a time. There are certain effects I think I might enable stacking on, so that if you have how would I even, like, if you have a glitch effect as like your mid roll effect. So while the text is on screen, it's shaking, but then you also have an option for it to be glitching. That might be something that I want to stack. That I might want to stack effects on. Right? I might want it to be shaking and then also glitching, and then I can have that rumble as an option. And so I think with the transform 1, the way we're going to have this work, I think we're still going to need 3 different categories. Just because I don't want the animations fighting with each other. If I was to add, if I add a switch for like the in animation, the mid animation, and the out animation, you'll only be able to have one switch available at a time. Which obviously you don't want to only be able to do one. You want to be able to have an in, an out, and a mid, so that if you want it to shake in, shake out, and have a mid shake, you have the option of all those instead of just being able to choose one. So I think we will still need like a beginning, a middle, and an end area. But they are going to work better. They are going to have more options let's dive into this some more. I'm going to disconnect the directional blur for now. I'm going to make a copy of the node itself just so that I have a record of what I did for the mid shake. And then we're going to take a look at the shaking in. So actually, know what? This is actually the mid shake area. So, you know, we'll leave that here. We have the constant shake, we have the grow, we have the shrink. Okay, floating. The float is another XY path that I would need. So that's 1, this is 2. Okay, so modify width. With the float, I did the float animation. You guys are gonna chuckle because the rest of this stuff was like, oh, I've got to like use an expression and add some modifiers and put a key stretcher on there for the float. You know what I did? I kept my expression to keep everything like centered properly. So I'd always have the same origin point. But then I just added I just made an animation where is it? Yeah, I don't need the keyframes. Just on the spline editor, it's just a simple bounce animation. That's all it is. It just has the bounce or the ping pong thing on it. That's all. The reason it's like that is because I couldn't figure out a way to make it go backwards. I was able to get the animation to move forwards, so it would ping pong into the future. But if you wanted to look back on all your lovely memories and have it ping ponging, your ping could not pong in the past. There was no ping pong past. It was only ping pong future. Ping could not pong in the past. He wasn't one to dwell on things. He would only ping pong in the future, which is why when you see 0 and it keeps moving all the way to 100,000, we have that, and we have and we have it moving backwards. Like that's what I had to do. I couldn't do it with shit. I could not. My brain is short-circuiting here. Oh, I couldn't set it so that I would have the actual animation start at 0. That's what it was. That's why the animation starts at negative 100,000 frames. Because if I do this, if I have my text active here, what did I just do? If I had my text active, and let me put these to normal, and I wanted it to float, right? It's going to float. But then if I dragged it backwards, yeah, you can see it right, right here. It's doing the same thing. And then it starts floating. So I think this was an older version of the effect, which is why it doesn't actually work moving backwards. Because if I go to here, this. Jeez, man. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, no, we're good. I thought we were about to crash resolve. Oh, we might still crash resolve. There we go. Here's all of our animations. Here's all, oh, no. Every time I adjust it, it's lagging so hard. Oh, no. Ooh, that's fun. Yeah, every time I would adjust it, it would lag so hard. Anyways, yeah, it doesn't look like it goes very far back on this one. But yeah, so this is what would happen. I'd have the animation at 0, and it would start at 0. It doesn't ping pong backwards. Ping cannot pong in the past. There is no ping pong past. It's a figment of your imagination. I'm memory holing you. This is the conspiracy theory. There is no ping pong. Ping pong doesn't exist. There is only the future. Ping pong has never existed before now. It's like Schrodinger's ping pong. Did it exist in the past? Maybe. We'll never know. So I couldn't get it to ping pong backwards, so I just had to set the animation so far back into the past that no matter how far back you pulled it, I think you had to pull the text back like half an hour or 10 minutes or something to get the ping pong effect to actually stop in the official release. I should double check that. Let me see. I might have even like done some editing on this one to make it properly move. Oops, that's not my name. That's not my name. You can be set to still. You can be set to still. So now if I move this back, let me see, is it broken? No, it works. So this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about. So I can move it back now, and because ping pong, there is no past for ping. He just pongs. It works if I drag it backwards. That's what I was talking about. Oh. Yeah, good stuff. I also realized that the float animation after the fact, you can see it moves up, then it moves down a little bit, then it moves back up, then it moves down, right? So it moves down a little bit, then it moves further down, then it moves up, down halfway, up, down the full way. I didn't even realize that that's what the animation was until I had already released it. I thought it was going up, down, all the way up, all the way down. Apparently not. But, I mean, still looks good. Version 2 will have more ping pong controls. Who knows, you might even be able to ping pong yourself into the past. It will definitely have a speed control, and it will definitely have like a height control as well. And maybe I'll add even like a little bit of wobble to it, so if you want it to be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Or maybe I'll have it move up, then do a circuit, then move down, then do a circuit, excuse me, then move up, then do a circuit, then move down. So a couple options, right? We're brainstorming. But yeah, that's the difference between DWGG, which I put DW because my hand is always on DW, AS, DF, whatever. So it was like, so for searching it when I made like a billion different tests, it was easy to just search up and be like, test number 22, pull you in there. Anyways, yeah, so ping could not pong. How am I going to set that custom stuff in? Oh, and we still need to set our custom controls for our perturb. So let's do that. Let's put this to grow, bring this down, and put this to 0. And this is XY path 1, and then Y perturb and X perturb. So I might just have to have the controls for these be independent of each other. So I might have to display all of them. So have the X perturb and the Y perturb available. And then if I can set some kind of version of this so that you could check a box and it would suddenly bind the controls together, so that you would have the X and Y now moving on the same page, that would be cool. But if we can't do that, then what we can do is just have the XY path. We can just add one single perturb to 1, right? Modify perturb. And now when we're on 1, right, I'm going to bring the XY scale down. It would just keep these... It would just keep these bound to each other. You know what? Here's what I'm thinking. So... maybe I have this as an option so that you can have them bound together if you want. Because here's what I'm thinking. You have your X and Y perturb, so you can adjust the strengths differently. With this one, the strength is going to affect both of them the same amount, but the deviation will stay the same. So maybe I just have this as a version, and then I have the other one with the X and the Y separately as a version. Changing the song here. There we go. I think that might be what we want to do. Because I was thinking what I would do is I would take this expression, I would just bind it to the Y scale so that when I move these, I could just have a single scale control, and that would control how this moved. So that if I go to, here you go, center, I put this here. Oh my gosh, look at that. So you'd be able to just have both of them move at the same time. Let's bring the strength down. Actually, we'll bring the strength up a little bit. But yeah, so you'd have both of these moving the same amount. And you wouldn't have to, like, it'd be done for you automatically. That's the whole point, is this preset is supposed to save you time. But honestly, like, just going 0.5, 0.5 really doesn't... Like, at the cost of being able to change these separately from each other and have the same strength applied, it's really not a bad trade-off. And that would be the difference between version 1, version 2. I might have to make it a little bit more clear on how those two are different, or add some more controls to it, like, to make it worth putting in there. Because otherwise you can just use the X and Y separately for all of it, and you could maybe add a checkbox in to bind the values or something. Or, you know what? Maybe we could do a custom control. We could do a custom control with the X and Y here. Hear me out. We do a custom control. So this is at 0, where we've got the X and the Y. Let me pin this, so it's all there together. So I could add on a switch to each of these. I could add on a switch. Switch 1 or switch 0 would do nothing. And then switch 1 could bind the controls together. And this allows me to not have to have a second perturb running in the software. I only have to have or a third perturb technically. I only have to have the 2. But now I have the options to have them bound with just the click of a button, or to have them completely separate. And I think there would be 3 versions of it being bound, which is have the X and Y, like the X and Y strength be bound, or to have like everything be bound, so that actually, yeah, I think just having a thing for like everything be bound and then nothing be bound together might be better. So how would that even look? How would that even look? How do we want to do that? It's going to be a little tedious to set up, I think, but then like it's going to look stupid. It's going to look real stupid, but once it's set up, you're going to feel real smart. It's like wax on, wax off. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm washing this car here. And then you realize you've learned karate moves. So, strength. We put an expression. Wait a second. How do I want to do this? So, I'm not going to have I'm going to have, basically, I'm going to add an expression, actually, and you know, we'll make another node for this, just for the sake of not, like, having an extra set of controls. Highly recommend doing this, by the way. If you want to make a change to something, yo, another editor streamer. Hey, Damien, how you doing, man? We're in the new year. We're making cool presets. We're talking through the whole process. We're showing you the full behind the scenes, full BTS. Okay, so for this, I'm thinking here. So we've got the X perturb, we've got the Y perturb. What's going to happen, or what it's going to look like, is it's just going to be expression, 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 and then I'm just going to drag the random seed onto everything so that, and then I would just show the one value, right? So that when I pull this up, oh no, we've broken resolve. Guys, I broke it. We've broken resolve here. Oh no, wait a second, here we go, damn. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Unless, random seed 0, strength 1, 1, 1. What did I just do to this? Yeah, everything's broken. What the heck? Damn. That's the first time I've seen that. Okay, maybe it's random seed. We got to get rid of random seed and value. Random seed. Oh. Pfft. Well, folks. This stuff really comes out. Dude, that's crazy. I've never had that happen before, where I'm adding like with this specifically, where it's 2 perturbs that I'm trying to stack. And doing great, and heck yeah, definitely something that you want to learn. Hell yeah. DaVinci on and on DaVinci W's. Okay, you're a big boy Fusion user. I try. Let me move this stuff over so I'm not giving away all of the really cool things. I don't give away all the surprises. I dabble in Fusion, and I bang my head against the wall 7 days a week. Like, why did the perturbs just... Oh, damn. It got rid of our other perturb. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I'm a full-on dabbler in Fusion. I'm lucky enough to be able to bang my head against the wall 7 days a week to do this. It's really cool. Down basically, bro invented Fusion. Okay, so Fusion overall, I love teaching. I love teaching Fusion, man, because it's like 30% technical knowledge, and then it's like 70% just like critical, like really critical outside the box thinking. Like with our motion blur, for example. Oh, you weren't here for the motion blur. I'm gonna show you something. Okay, where's our directional blur? Damn, did they get rid of our directional blur too? Wow, it really did not like our directional blur. That's mean. Well, got rid of our directional blur, got rid of our perturb. God damn. We can remake that. So, we had a... Actually, I can just use my directional blur from over here. We had a directional blur over here, which when this was moving around... let me bring I'll bring my strength up just to show this. Or bring the speed up. So we had a directional blur on here, and we pulled it up so that when this is moving, right, it sells the effect a little bit more of, whoa, it's moving, so it's blurry. Whereas before, it was just like this. Now, you can add on directional blur, or you can add on motion blur by just clicking the motion blur box in Fusion. You can mess with the your settings a bit so that when it's actually like when it's moving, you're gonna have it's all gonna be based off how it's moving, and it's really cool to have. Don't get me wrong, it's really cool to have. The only problem is it takes up a massive kiloton of processing power on your PC, which means that if you're trying to play a whole bunch, like if someone's speaking a sentence like this, and you have a whole bunch of subtitles on here, and they're moving, and you have motion blur, your PC is gonna chunk and then crap out on you because there's like it's trying to do all this GPU accelerated stuff. So what we do instead is we can add on just a basic, or we can add on a static directional blur effect. The only thing is that it stays the same. It gives you the same blurriness even when it's just doing small movements compared to big movements. And I wanted to see if there was a way we could. I wanted to see if there was a way we could change this, because we're making custom animations. So if I just put this into here, and I turn off the perturb, if I turn off the center, so we just have the size. And we increase our size variable. So we've got some custom growth and shrinkage stuff here. So just with a drop-down menu, right? We can have this shrink, we can have it grow, and we can change how fast we want it to grow and shrink. And we're going to add in the same custom controls for our movement stuff. Now, over here, where we would have a constant shake on our text, we could just put the directional blur as a static value, or with some of these, you'd be able to keyframe the blur because the animation isn't changing. You don't have custom controls to control the length or aggressiveness of your animation. But because of how we're setting this up now, it's going to be optimized. It's going to run better, more controls, more custom, more custom. I need to do the same thing for the directional blur. So first, I was thinking, oh, I can have the directional blur. I can add like an expression onto it, and we can base it off of the value of the perturb, right? That's what I was thinking we could do it. We could do it with. Now I'm like, we cannot do that because, or well, we can do that, but it's not going to function. It's not going to function as well. And what will happen is we'll always have a certain amount of blur, and it will increase and then decrease, but it will never have that same stillness that it has when we're using just the normal motion blur. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a way if there's some kind of variable in Resolve, we need to learn this. If there's some kind of variable in Resolve that can detect the rate of change of a value, so like how fast this is moving, and then I can use that rate of change to adjust. I can use that rate of change to adjust the directional blur value. Then that will allow me to create like a makeshift motion blur effect. Because when this is moving, I can have it going all crazy and stuff. But then when it's not moving, or it's moving very slowly, I can have it like just blurred a little bit in comparison to a ton. That's one of the problems to figure out. So I'm going to make sure to save my project 8 billion times so that we don't lose our perturb. And then the other thing was we had a copy of this. I'm going to make a copy of our transform over here in case I need to make some changes. So in this one, we have a perturb one. And then on our XY path. Okay, so over here, we've got XY path. Now, let me add a perturb to just the X and just the Y so that we can make adjustments to just the X or just the Y with the shake, so we can have it go like woo, and then just be slowly moving up and down. Yeah, so that's what you've got it, Damien. That's the essence of what we are trying to do. So the perturb strength, we're on the right track, and we tried that, and we almost got it. So if I connect this to here, and oh well, I need to pull these down. So first, let's move this over. Let's use a switch, move this over to here. So we're on 1, and then we're gonna bring the strength down. bring the speed up, and then go to 1, bring that in. So this is moving like this. So we're moving slowly side to side, but I'll make this more dramatic so you can see perturb 2. That's the speed. Let me do this. So we're moving slowly side to side, but we're moving up and down really fast. So that's one. That's one version of how we want this. Oops, don't want to connect that. So that's one version of the shake in general. The other version of the shake I was thinking of having before we even got to the motion blur problem, because once we know how to solve the motion blur problem, then we can apply it to all of them. So I'm figuring out step like 2 before I figure out step 3. So step 2, saving, so I don't lose my nodes. I'm gonna lose my marbles and then lose my nodes. I'm gonna go to, that's the normal one. We're gonna set this, we're gonna name this as big boy perturb, or we'll set it to like, I'll set it as like global. Yes, we'll have this as a global perturb. Yes, that is version 1. And then for perturb 1 and 2, which I think this one is our, that's our X. This is our, no, this is our Y. Perturb Y, and then perturb, nope, perturb Y, and then perturb X. With these, what I want, I think, is, and this is, hear me out here. So I was talking about this earlier. Instead of having to have 3 different perturbs, so I'm having 3 different animated values, if I can have 2 animated values and each of those have 2 different settings on them, then I can set up an expression so that the value will be based off of which input is selected. So if I'm using animation 1, animation 2 is going to keep a static value. So even though it's animated, it's going to hold the same value, and so it's basically the same as doing nothing. And then it's the same thing if I'm using 2, 1 is going to be doing nothing. And the reason I'm setting it up like this instead of just having a million modifiers is you can script something in Fusion so that you can change, like you can actually toggle on and off this using buttons and stuff in the Fusion page. That's key, in the Fusion page. If you're doing it in the edit page, for some reason the edit page does not like my scripting as much. So we're going to use expressions instead of actual straight Lua scripting in Fusion, and it will do basically the same thing, but it will work. It will work. So the way I would do this would be, we have perturb X, we have perturb Y. I'm going to need to add a switch to, wait a second, do I just need to add a switch to one of the values? I might only need to add a switch to one, to like the perturb Y, for example, so it will stay bound to the X for one of them. So here's what I mean when I'm doing this. So modify with switch, and then make input 1 the value of perturb X, so that now if I'm moving this, the value is bound, but if I put it to 0, now it doesn't care. Now it doesn't care. So man, lots of this is way above my head. Dude, I completely get it. It's really, really cool though. It's mostly just like, you got to start somewhere, right? Like I had to spend like a year and a half just trying to grasp the concept of like nodes, and the nodes connect to each other and they do something, they somehow make an effect. Now, right, we're doing this. Where's our global perturb value? Okay, so here's our switch, which you guys can't see because my head is in the way. Okay, so here's the switch. Basically, if I want to have So here's our global perturb. The global perturb has the X and Y scale, right? The only problem, or that, like, it's nice that I have an X and Y scale so I can adjust how the X and how the Y acts, but the strength, wobble, and speed are going to be applied to both of them equally. And if I don't want that, then I need to have an X separate and a Y separate. If I want to have an X separate and a Y separate, but I still want to have the option of having this global value where the strength and everything is going to be applied equally, I either need to add on a new modifier, which is going to eat up more processing power, and I won't be able to, well, I won't be able to turn it off in the same way. I could still do it with an expression, but it'd be an extra modifier on there, and I don't know if I'd want that. I want to keep things clean. When did I first dip into Fusion? So I started editing in the free version of Resolve in 2020, in like late, like August of 2020. So I've been doing this, I think we're in year 6 right now. We're on year 6. Oh no, my tabs, all my OBS and everything just disappeared. There's my live stream. Here's my music. So I've been doing this for around 6 years, or 5.5, however many years. But I spent the first year and a half being scared of Fusion and just kind of poking at it every now and then, like it's a dead bear. Like, what's going on? What is this thing? And then I slowly learned a little bit over the next 2.5, 3 years. And then I've spent the last year very, like, taking Fusion very seriously. And maybe 4 of those months were straight troubleshooting. And I'm not joking. Like, 4 of those months were me going, I have an idea that I want to do, like this thing here, where I can have this moving however I want it to move in whichever direction, and I can control the in animation length and the out animation length, and it's all really cool and it works properly. I spent like probably 2 months just troubleshooting the stuff. So the perturb X and perturb Y aren't anything anymore, but I spent 2 months just figuring out how to make it function properly, because in the custom, you can see we've got in, full, and out. We've got 9 versions, and we've got 12 different directions. And at first, I was like, oh, I'm going to need to have a different modifier for each of these, for all these animations. And that adds up to 3 times 9 times 12. That adds up to 324 modifiers on here. And believe me, I tried to put all those modifiers on there, and it just didn't work. Let me scroll up here. I have I think I have a screenshot somewhere of the actual, like, the actual amount of modifiers and stuff I was trying to add. Oh, here we go. This'll work. So I was putting modifiers on stuff. I was trying to put, like, keyframe stretchers and anim curves, because I was putting modifiers onto modifiers because I wanted it to be super modular. And it ended up when I went to put, like, modify width, it brought up this menu which covered the entire screen. And I didn't even know which one to add on, because you can see it's like left panel 1, left panel 1, left panel 2. I didn't even know what to add anymore. And then Gogler eats tacos sideways. You mind saying that again, Blinsky? Yeah, it got horrible. So it got to a point where I was adding on the modifiers, but it got to a point where DaVinci Resolve would just crash when I tried to add modifiers onto things, or it would crash when I got to it would just crash. when I got to a certain point because there were too many. Now, all 324 combinations are done on three individual modifiers. All the animations take place on these three. So we got curve shape, got our scaling, which you might not be able to see, which is right there. And we have our, so we've got like a crazy expression in here that controls the curve. And we've got some timing and stuff, blah, 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 blah. But basically, you have to, when you don't know something, you have to start off by just throwing yourself into it and being willing, being willing enough and gracious and like you have to have humility, because you're like, oh, I'm like, if you go into it like I have an idea and it's gonna work the first time, then you're probably gonna quit. You're probably gonna quit Fusion, especially if it's something you don't know. Like with us, we're trying to work on the directional blur, and before we tried that expression where we like, oh, we'll use the perturb value as the directional blur, and it kind of works. Like it kind of works, but it's not quite there. Like it's one version, right? When you start off, like you look at Iron Man movies. Tony Stark built a ton of different suits. He had version 1. Version 1, how long did his prototype Iron 1 suit last for? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And he was able to fly with it for a little bit, and then he just crashed and burned. Then he spent like a ton of time refining the suit. He's like, we're gonna try 10% thrust, and then he got shot into a wall. He just went flying. That's you when you make something. You got to be willing to fly into the wall, to crash and burn. But then you look at him in Endgame, right? He's using nanotech, which wasn't even a question, wasn't even an option at the beginning. But you play with stuff, and my nose is really itchy. I don't know why it keeps being so itchy. But you play with stuff, and you learn, and you crash, and you burn, then you get back up, do it all over again. Before you know it, you can take this whole thing, put it into like 4 or 5 nodes, and it runs better, and it's cooler, and there's more options for controls. That's what we're about here. Just sprint forward at full speed and learn everything you can. So, where were we? So we have our perturb X and our perturb Y, and I was thinking I would need a switch on both of these, but I don't. I only need a switch on... Did I get rid of the switch on one of these? Or is it... Am I looking at... Okay, yeah, perturb X, perturb Y. So I think I'll need a switch just on the Y, because I only need one of them to pay attention to the other. I don't need both of them to pay attention to another. So I only need a switch on one of them, because I can either tell the Y, hey, do your own thing, or follow what X is doing. And then that's how I'm going to have them either bound or separate. And then we can play with the strength. With the strength ones as well. We'll have to see. That's amazing. Gotta head out now. Glad you found the stream. Good luck with your endeavors. Hey, good luck, Damien. I saw you join the Discord. I hope to see you in there. Hope to see some of the really, really cool stuff that you're making. We'll stay in touch, brother. God bless. Okay. So perturb Y and perturb X. Let me set this back to 0.5 and then put this in here. And then let's try doing this, where I don't want this animated, but I'm going to add, wait, do I have a switch here? Center size, XY path, global perturb. Do I have an option to hide this? No, I don't. Okay, so modify with switch, perturb value, modify with switch, modify with, where is it? Modify with a switch, do the wobble. Actually, can I just straight up copy? No, I don't think I can copy that, because that would copy the value over as well. I was going to see if I could just copy paste like put a switch on this, put a switch on that, but I think that might also try and paste the value of the other things on. Okay, so we have an individual switch for each of these values. So I can have, we're going to need to pin all of these. And I can close Y, but I'm going to need to open everything else. Open the wobble, open the speed. And 0 is going to be fine. 0 can be the normal thing. But then input 1 is going to be, for the value, it's going to be the X value. So now you can see, oh, and the rest is 0. Okay. So input 1 for the random seed. We're going to copy that, and I can close this now, close that now. Input 1 for strength. Throw that in there. So strength is now that. For the wobble, so it's going to start changing as soon as I do the wobble, I think. Oh, never mind. I might also have to do the speed. And then speed. Bam. Okay, there we go. So now they are moving exactly the same. Wait a second, that's actually strange. So if I... Wait a second. If I do this... Oh, wait a second. Oh, never mind, it works. So this is only moving diagonal now. That's so weird. Oh, wait a second. If I go to here and I hit pause. Okay, I might need to uncheck. I might need to get rid of the value one. No, never mind. So, okay, this is interesting. So if I bind it, let me get rid of random seed. If I bind it, it ends up... This is funny. So let me do this. That's so funny, dude. Maybe what I need to do... Here's something that might work. Okay, so let me get rid of the random seed. Change the random seed to like 22. There we go. That's what we want. That's what we want. Okay. So if I do like 999. So now, okay, so that was the problem. We were using the exact same random seed for the X as we were the Y. So because we were using the same random seed for the X as the Y, it was literally moving, like it was doing the exact same value. So it's because we have a Y random seed 0 and we have an X random seed 0, and we used the X random seed 0 in the Y random seed 0 place. So everything else can be bound, just not the random seed, which is cool. So I don't even, wait a second, I don't even need the switch on, I don't even need the switch on this. So the perturb Y just needs to have a different seed than... The perturb Y just needs to have a different seed than the X. So wait a second. Actually, you know what? I might keep the random seed on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to go to random seed here. And then we're just going to add this on. So that as I move the random seed here, the random seed will stay different on the Y, which works perfectly. So now I can have it all be bound together. That was crazy. I can have it all, be bound together. But now I get the difference. I get the actual perturb effect as opposed to it just moving diagonal. Okay, so that's one. And so now I need an option to, in my custom tool, to change all of these between 1 and 0. So I'm going to go to, let's go to number in 3. Let's add number in 3 to our configuration here. And then change this to, we can do it as a button control. Why not? Actually, no, we're not going to do it as a button control. We'll do it as a combo control. And we're going to do separate as 1. If I hit enter, does that add? No, it doesn't. Do separate, and we're going to do bound. So now in number, oh, and I should change the number into, what was this? This is grow and shrink. So number in 2 is size direction. And then the number 3 is perturb. I guess perturb alignment. Perturb alignment, and that'll be that. So perturb alignment is going to be separate or bound. And all I need to do is, what is this? Custom tool 1, number in 3 is what we're going to use to actually create the change here. So we're going to, let me see. So that's perturb value X. And okay, so in the source of all of these, I need to open these up. I need to add an expression. I'm getting text messages on my telephone. I need to add an expression. Ready? Here we go. Custom tool 1, number in 3. And then I'm just going to take this expression and I'm going to paste it into every single field. Every single field here. And so now, right, I've got my controls where I'm controlling the X and the Y strength. Or I'm controlling the X and the Y strength separate finally. So I can actually move this. And it stays, let me bring the speed down. Yeah, that's cool. And here's my X. So now the Y is lower than that. And then if I go to my tools and I hit change this to bound, now it's going to change. Yeah, it's going to change. It's going to keep the strength and everything the same. So the Y is not going to be wobbling independently from the X. That's cool. And all it took was change it to separate versus bound. So this is an example of some of the really cool things we can do to create different shake effects and have custom controls. This is why I want to completely revamp or do an overhaul of this entire effect, because imagine having that, but now you've got, you know, something like 15 to 20 different animation options, and you can control your custom stuff for each of them. Like, just insane stuff. And I need to pause this. I need to save this a ton, and then we're gonna change this to shake transform at, and my nose is trying to sneeze. I'm not gonna let it. My dude, come on. So we've got that. We have also, if I turn off our, I can unpin all these now. I can unpin all these. Turn off my perturb. Actually, I can keep all these on, but I can turn off the perturb in general. And then I can select this again, go back to my modifiers. There we go. So yeah, so we have custom controls for both our strength and for our shake, and we're already building in different versions of the shake. So before, you only got one type of shake, one type of constant shake here. and it was this. But with the new set here, you can get a bound animation where you're getting like a shake where it's always going to be aligned, or you can have it be separate where it's going to kind of wiggle a little bit more. This is just so cool. And I'm going to add in, again, we're going to add in extra controls so you can actually adjust everything. Super cool. Super awesome. All right, but that is all the time I've got for today. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go get some lunch, or I guess dinner at this point. Thank you everyone so much for tuning into the stream. I plan on having several streams specifically based in this kind of stuff. So if you really enjoy it, stay tuned, hit subscribe, hit like, all that good stuff. And yeah, join the Discord if you want sneak peeks at videos, other things I'm doing. If you have suggestions for videos you want to see, that is also something you can do in the Discord, for right now at least. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you